Me not like movie. Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of Me Like Not Like. Today's May 12th, 2025. I am Giuseppe, and I like movies. Yeah, yesterday was Mother's Day. Spent time with my mom, my dad, family, came over, and we had a nice little barbecue. And I got to say, the main reason, if not the full reason, that I love going to the movies so much is because of my mother. She used to take us to the movies all the time. She would rent movies from Blockbuster for us. Even like the smaller video rental stores she would take us to all the time, and we would rent movies. And because we didn't really go away much during vacation time, like summer vacation, Christmas vacation, we never really went away, but we would always go to the movies. Whenever there was a movie that came out, we would go see it. A new movie came out on VHS, we'd rent it. And my mother tells me that the first movie she ever took me to see was E.T., but I don't remember. I had to be like 2 years old, 3 years old, or something like that. Probably couldn't find a babysitter or something like that. And but the one movie I do remember seeing, the first movie that I do remember seeing, is Gremlins. It came out a couple years after E.T. anyway, and I was about 4 or 5. My grandmother was visiting from Italy and wanted to go to a movie, so we all went. Me, my dad, my mom, my grandmother, my 2 older sisters, and my younger brother. And we had a great time. That movie's fantastic. I still love that movie. And I remember being in the theater, watching it. It was a big theater. It was one of those theaters that was just one theater. And it's like, if anybody's like around my age who grew up in the 80s, remembers what that's like, where you go into a theater where there's like maybe only 2 theaters in there, or auditoriums, or even just one. And it was such a great experience. And I think I can attribute my love for movies to my mother. So I would like to show appreciation to my mother by saying that. Now, granted, going to the movies and loving to go to the movies and loving movies, period, doesn't always mean that you're going to love the movie that you see, which is the unfortunate case with Clown in a Cornfield. Now, I went to see this Friday night. Generally, like I say numerous times, is that I normally try to go the Thursday night, but it was playing a little later than I wanted to, and I knew that I'd probably be really tired after work, especially having to wake up for work the next day. I decided to wait till Friday night. It was playing a little earlier, so I said, all right, why not? And, I wasn't like super anticipating this movie. It looked like it could be fun because I didn't watch like a full trailer for it. Just saw like little bits and pieces, where you see Friendo the Clown, which is the name of the clown, obviously. You see Friendo the Clown, swinging an axe, revving a chainsaw, what have you. Now, I just want to let you know right here, before I go any further, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, please stop the video, but like it first. Okay, subscribe first and then watch it after. And then you can tell me how wrong I am because you loved the movie. So I wasn't like fully anticipating it, but I was interested because I remember on TikTok, I came upon Adam Caesar's TikTok page, and he was talking about Clown in a Cornfield 3 because I think it had just released at the time. This was like last year, and he was talking about the books. He was talking very passionately about them, and I don't remember if he mentioned that there was a movie coming out. He may have, but just the way he was talking about, I mean, he did mention that they were written more for teens, like between the ages of like 14 and 17. So I was like, all right, but like just the way he was talking about it, I was like, you know what? This sounds cool. I'll give it a shot. So, I went on Amazon and I was able to find all 3 books in hardcover on Amazon, and they were, they're not expensive. They were like $15 each. I think they're still around that price. You got, and on the cover of all 3 of them, I guess it's a quote from Clive Barker, an author who knows how to make us afraid. And it's the same quote on all 3 of them, which listen, if Clive Barker said something like that about something that I wrote, I would put it on the cover of all of my books, even if it wasn't a scary book. So as I'm watching them on TikTok, I go on Amazon, I order the books. And I go back and I'm like, hey, I just ordered all 3 books. He's like, oh, thank you. He called my name out on TikTok or whatever, which I thought was cool. Seemed like a really nice guy, whatever. And unfortunately, I haven't read them yet. I didn't know the movie was coming out. But on the other hand, sometimes I like to see a movie before reading the book. I mean, if you've seen The Shining and you read the book first, you'd probably be like, what the hell did I just watch? But if you watch the movie first, it's like, it's a wild flick. It's a great flick. It's a classic flick. I love The Shining. And I didn't read the book until years later. Now, had I read the book before watching the movie, I probably would have been like, yeah, I can't watch this because it strays so far from the book, but that's besides the point. So Clown in a Cornfield stars a young actress named Katie Douglas. I'm not familiar with her or her work, so I have her IMDb up. She was in This Too Shall Pass, What Would Jesus Do, Lazarus, Pretty Hard Cases, The Girl Who Escaped, The Carol Robinson Story. I don't know any of those movies. It's the first time I've seen her. You got Aaron Abrams, who was in Hannibal, another show that I haven't watched. Just this is stuff that I'm like finding on his IMDb. But there are names that I do recognize, faces that I do recognize, like Kevin Durand, who was Blob in the X-Men Origins Wolverine story, the Wolverine movie. He played Proxima Caesar. He did the voice in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. He was in Abigail. He's in a lot of stuff. You'll recognize his face. If you don't know the name, he's one of those faces that you'll recognize right away. And you also got Will Sasso. Will Sasso was Curly in the Three Stooges movies. Three Stooges movie. He was also in Mad TV and a bunch of stuff. Like, he did a pretty good Tony Soprano when he was on Mad TV. So the movie starts. Again, I know it's based off of a book, but the movie starts. It's one of those cliche opening to a movie where it's a father and daughter move to a small town because the mother passed away. Now they got to start a new life. Like, they can't just start their new life without their mother. Where they ended off. They're starting in a new town, a new small town where like everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows the right place to go get the best pancakes. Everybody knows who the bad kids are, stuff like that. So, she goes to school. She kind of, is a weird neighbor, walks her to class. You kind of become skeptical of this guy. And, warns her, hey, stay away from the wrong kids, all that stuff. So, of course, naturally, she becomes friends with the bad kids, the wrong kids, the kids who, cause all the trouble and all that stuff. So, the town has this, basically like a mascot for this product. I think it was like dairy products. It's Friendo the Clown. And, the founder, she hangs out with the great grandson of the founder of this company, Friendo the Clown. And so what they do is they make their own YouTube videos where they dress up as Friendo the Clown and like do these like fake killings with each other and all that stuff. But little did they know that there's a Friendo lurking around. And, they catch him on one of the videos that they put together, like sitting in the background or whatever. And they're just like, whoa, what's going on? So, they have this big Founders Day celebration, floats, parade, all that stuff. And, things go awry. And of course they blame all the bad kids. And, so then they have this big party in a barn. And that's when all hell breaks loose. Friendo the Clown comes out and starts killing people. But then next thing you know, there's like 50 Friendos. You're like, what the hell is going on here? Why are there 50 Friendos? Of course, I'm like cutting a lot of the movie out, because there really wasn't anything particularly spectacular about the storyline that really, to get into. Because like I said, you got a girl whose mother passed away, her father whose wife passed away, starting a new life in a new town. Again, very cliche. How many times have we heard that story? So the kids are, all the kids are being chased by these Friendos and they're killing everybody. And of course, at the end, you find out the whole plan, the whole lore behind it is that this is what the Founders Day tradition is. All the adults in the town dress up as Friendo the Clown and go out and kill the kids. Yeah. Of course, the founder's father, the kid's father, who's like the town mayor, like the the grandson of the founder of Friendo, whatever the name of the company was, of course, reveals the whole story, reveals the whole plan. Hey, this is what we do every year. We go out and dress as clowns and kill people. We kill kids. That's what we do. It's like, really? It's like, I get so tired of like, and I know it's supposed to be part of like the story because you want people to know what's going on, what these people are doing. And it's like, here, let me tell you everything that's been going on because I'd rather than you just die and not know. So he reveals the whole thing about how this is a big Founders Day tradition to go out dressed up as Friendo the Clown and just start killing people. Whatever. So it was just kind of like, and I hate using the word stupid when describing how I feel about a movie or like what I think a movie is, but I just thought the movie was kind of stupid. But the thing is, in the back of my mind, I remind myself that this is from a book that was written for like young teens. Like I said, between like 14 and 17 or something like that. Or like you're 13 years old, whatever. So, but the movie was rated R. So I was like, oh, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I misheard that it's for teens or whatever. But no, you look it up. It says that these books are made for like, young teens, And so basically this whole movie was like an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. Now, if you come from my time, again, early 90s, Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was a great show. But even when you were younger, you saw like the corniness behind it, whatever, but it was still fun. It's like watching it now, you could probably sit through an episode, but realize how corny it is. But this was just like a long, drawn out episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark with blood and cursing. Now, I feel like that's the only reason this movie was rated R, because there wasn't excessive blood. There wasn't like, what's that other clown's name? You know what I'm talking about. Art the Clown. It wasn't like Terrifier movie. But there was some good blood in it, but there was also a lot of CGI blood, which I cannot stand. And I'll say it every time, I cannot stand CGI blood. It just, obviously, when someone jabs somebody with a knife, it's CGI blood that spatters out. But when it's on the floor pouring out, sometimes it's hard to tell because it's darker. It's like, oh, is that real? Did they use real liquid for the floor? Who knows? It just looks really bad. I think most of the time they use actual liquid for like blood pouring out like after the fact. But either way, the blood spatter just looks terrible when it's CGI. So, obviously they kill the big bad at the end. Everybody win, good guys win. And then of course, they made this whole trip to, this little town just to almost die and defeat the big bad. And that's it. It's like if you knew Are You Afraid of the Dark? If you used to watch that show when you were a kid, you'll know what I'm saying if you watch this movie. Now, there are a lot of people who like it. Like right now on IMDb, I believe it has a 6.3 out of 10 scoring, which I guess that's pretty good. It's not fantastic, but it's not bad. I don't really like to go by what IMDb says before. I mean, because look, I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, and I've been really, really sitting on it. I'm going to go see it tomorrow, and I'll do a review on that at some point, but like, finally, after 2 weeks after it released, I'm going to go see it. It's on Tuesday. It's on Discount Tuesday, so like, don't worry, I'm not spending all my money on it. I would go to Alamo Draft House where I have a season pass, but I want to see it in 3D. It's like if the movie sucks, at least it'll be in 3D. But anyway, Clown in a Cornfield, it's not what I thought it was going to be. Again, I didn't read the books. Maybe if I read the books, I would know what was going to happen. But then again, maybe if I read the books, I might not want to see the movie. But now I want to read the books to see how it stacks up against the movie. Of course, you're always going to have people in the comment section, well, I read the book, and in the book they did this. That's why it was like someone said that they took like a scene away from us, so to speak, like a scene that was in the book that should have been in the movie that I guess they didn't put in the movie. And I get it. When you read a book, you love a book, you want to see it adapted to a movie as best as it can. Because there are very few movies that you see that are adapted from books that are really close to to the material, to the book. Like I could say like The Exorcist, very close. The Godfather, very close. There's just one chapter that they took out, and deservedly so. So when it comes to Clown in a Cornfield, and again, I apologize for the spoilers if you haven't seen it. If you're not planning on seeing it and you don't mind the spoilers, I gave it to you very quick. It's like the movie's about an hour and a half long. It's one of those movies that I really wanted to walk out. I'm like, I want to walk out of this. I don't want to stay here. It was like the same thing with the movie The Monkey. I wanted to walk out. But I'm thinking to myself, well, if I decide to do a me like, not like on it, I got to stay for the whole movie. And I stayed for the whole movie, and I don't regret it. I always say, look, people say, well, is it worth seeing? I say every movie's worth seeing, because how else would you know whether or not it's a piece of shit? So I stay for the whole movie just so I can, because, it's like when you see a movie and it's not good, you're like, oh, maybe it'll get better. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I didn't think it did. So when it comes to Clown in a Cornfield, I did not like it. Me, not like. Thank you very much for watching. If you did, I appreciate it. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to go see Thunderbolts. Or I think they call it the New Avengers now. And possibly give a review on that. And I also saw a movie on Max that I liked a lot. And I'll do a review on that at some point. I kind of want to watch it again because I liked it. And I'll tell you what it is the next time I do one of these. So until then, thank you guys very much for joining me. Have a great night. Like, share, subscribe.